Welcome everyone to our webinar today. I want to quickly kind of understand, make sure that everyone can hear me okay. If you wouldn't mind putting in your chat that you can hear me, that would be a great way to start off for us. I'm just going to put my chat over here so I can make sure I can see everyone. Hi everyone, thanks for coming. Thanks for participating with us. Can everyone see the screen as well? I hope that's okay. Perfect. So today we just want to talk a little bit about what recruiting and training means for us in terms of working with substitutes. We want to thank you again for coming. We have a few people from our company that are with us. Jessica Smith is our Chief Education Officer. Many of you know her. She does the newsletters. She's kind of heart and soul of the company, making sure that all of you have the content and information you need for your subs and for your teams. And then we also have Kelly Stone, who is over the VP of Client Services. So many of you probably know her, have spoken with her as well to help with getting set up with Steady and understanding what it is we do as well. I'm Sam Brandon. I'm over sales and marketing. So this presentation today is just kind of a good thing for us to do, a good reminder for some of the NICs, the various things that you could do to help improve your recruiting and training. Jeff Smith, I don't think is on the call today. We're doing some add-ons to the building, and he's out working with contractors, so he's busy doing some of that today. But he'll be watching this today, so make sure if you have any comments or questions, you can reach out to him as well. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. First off, if we could do a survey, there's a couple questions I have. For those of you who are working from home, we recently had a seminar or webinar a few weeks ago about working from home and the challenges that faces for people who haven't done it before, those who have maybe done it before, or just we gave some insights and understandings of how you can make working from home a little better. So if you wouldn't mind answering, there's a couple questions. If you scroll down on that poll, you'll see a second question. So don't forget that one as well. First one's kind of, a little light, has a little levity in it. The second one is kind of a real wanting to know 1 through 10, with 10 being that you do like working from home. We would love to get some feedback on that, how that's been the last few weeks. If you've been working from home. I understand some of you may not be working from home, so there's an answer there for those of you who are not working from home. But it should be helpful to kind of understand and see kind of the overall sense of what it's like for you to be from home or be working from home. I personally work from home for probably more than half my career, so it's very normal for me to kind of seclude myself in my office down in my basement and then poke my head up for a lunch, maybe a break here and there. And then at the end of the day, go upstairs and see my family. They don't seem to bother me. They've been very respectful about that. So just be interested to know if you guys wouldn't mind answering that poll, that would be very helpful for us. We do have quite a few questions today, have quite a few surveys to be asked. So we would really ask that you would participate in this to really help us all understand some of the challenges and issues that you're facing. So Jess, if there's been enough answers, I'd love to see the results of that poll. If you have any questions also, there's a note in there, an answer for other. And though I can't have you answer in that poll what other means, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat what other means, if you have some other responses or other insights, please share that with the chat. We will be copying those answers, and we'd be happy to share that with everyone near the end or at the end after the webinar.
Sounds like there was one problem with the submit button. Did anyone else have a problem with that?
I did see that. the host and panelists can't vote, so I don't see there's an issue. If you scroll down
No, there was somebody in the chat that said they had trouble hitting the submit button to submit, but they did admit that it might have been an operator error. Oh,
yeah,
somebody
I'm
else
not
said they could
sure.
not hit the submit button either, so I'm not sure why that would be.
Well, if you're having those issues, if you wouldn't mind just responding in the chat what your answers are, then we can compile it together afterwards. So I apologize for that. We haven't had that issue before. Oh, so maybe you have to answer both questions. So maybe that's the issue. If you make sure there's a question on top, question number 1, and then question number 2 is you have to scroll down and you answer number 2, and then I think the submit would probably pop up for you. Did that go? If you want to close that, Jess, that'd be great. I apologize for the difficulty there. That probably tells me next time we just make each question its own and not have to have multiple answers. There is another survey in here that we do that with too, so you may run into that same issue. Just make sure you answer all the questions, and then hopefully the submit button will pop up. I apologize, Dan. I'm not really. I have to figure out why that's happening. I haven't had that issue before, so I do apologize. And it could be because I have 2 questions, so we'll make sure we don't do that anymore. If you just write back in there, that would be great. What your answer is. So we're going to move on and talk a little bit about recruiting. Some of the things recruiting does. Obviously, it helps you find candidates. You obviously, when you find those candidates, you want to make sure that they're meeting requirements that the district set forth, or your organization has kind of predetermined what those requirements would be. You do this for your permanent teachers, right? So if you're an HR director you're hiring your teachers, you're going to make sure that the teachers, you find quality teachers, but you also make sure they all have a bachelor's degree and a teaching certificate. The basic requirements for teaching, typically, right? So when you find those teachers, that you're more likely to hire them because they've met those requirements, because there are some standards that you have that these teachers need to meet. So the same thing with substitutes. Each district organization has some standards of what they want, and so you just make sure that you're meeting those. We're going to give you some ideas on how to do that. And then obviously onboarding your new hires, with the process for onboarding. And this differs on, with each district, each organization that's out there. So let's do another survey. Hopefully this may work a little better than the other one. This question is about recruiting. There's two questions in here, recruiting and marketing. So when it comes to recruiting, I want to know if you guys know who your target audience is. If the hiring managers, if you're there, if you can answer this, or anyone who knows these answers for your organization, please answer as well. If you know your target audience for your substitute teachers, that's the question at hand. Then the marketing one is, how do you market to that target audience? What are the things you're doing to market to them? There it is. So the poll's up. No, quite again. Question number 1 is, how do you market to your target audience? And if you do any of those, great. If you have other, please make sure that you add the other into the chat feature, so everyone can see what that other is. And then once you do that, and once Jess feels like we have enough respondents, we'll go to the next question, which would be the marketing one. But and we'll talk a little more about this, but there's lots of different ways to market. Jess, there's actually another poll. I apologize. There's another poll for the recruiting, is about if you know your target audience.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Can I launch more than one poll at a time? Oh, I don't think so. I'll do this one and then go to that other one.
Okay. So
we had some construction going on and I didn't hear, so I apologize.
Right. No worries. So go ahead and do this one first then. So marketing, this is great. It does not necessarily a particular way or which one goes first in terms of the survey. So marketing, if you know how you do marketing, you can choose all of these. And if you have other, go ahead and add that in there. that moved away from me now. Jess, are you putting on the other one?
It won't let me share and launch a new poll. So if you,
Okay. Go ahead and share the results of that one if you have that.
oh yeah, that should be sharing, hopefully.
I'm not seeing it, but I didn't vote in it, so maybe that's why.
Let's see. Well, I can read the results. It looks
Go ahead
like
and read them. That'd be great.
22, I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Sorry about that. 22 out of 24 people, so 92% use the district website as marketing. Let's see, 33% have flyers, 25% signage, 17% use PTA meetings, 29% online marketing, 33% emails. So between emails, flyers, and the district website, that's the majority. All right, I'll
Perfect.
close this poll. Sorry, that wasn't showing up. And then I'll launch the next one.
Perfect. Thank you. And that's typically what we see, and that's what I would expect as well. If you can go ahead and throw the other one up there. Recruiting, right? So this is the question, like, who is your target audience, or do you know who your target audience is? That's what I'd like to know. So if you're not sure, go ahead and answer that. And then if you know who your target audience is, go ahead and answer that as well. And these, as you all know, these aren't the only answers, of course. I just put on the ones that we kind of see the most when it comes to dealing with districts and what they say to us. So we just kind of did our best guess for what we see. But again, if you have others, please add those in as well. We'd love to have more ideas for everyone to participate in and use. Understanding that target audience is really a big thing. So the next slide we're going to go into is we're going to cover that. Oh, great. So they showed up. So target audience, most of you believe the parents and retirees and part-time employees, college students, and you're pretty right on. That's pretty awesome. You guys know your audience. So over the years, we've done thousands and thousands of surveys and taken responses from thousands and thousands of substitutes. So I'm going to share some of that information with you in just a second, but that's going to help you understand. This is kind of what you responded, and this is what I expected, right? You have flyers, signage, PTA meetings, online marketing, way you reach out to them is your website, social media, that kind of thing. And then who you reach out to, like you said, the survey results, parents, college students, retirees, part-time employees, that was pretty much exactly what the majority of you were saying. And that's what we see. So that's really great that we see all that. Here are some results from some of the surveys we've done ourselves over the years. And the first, this gender this is all of the respondents. So you see about 76% of the substitutes that take the poll or the survey are female, 24% are male. And then if you go to the right here, their age, what I thought was interesting, 80.5% are 50 and above. That's a really important thing to understand who that target audience is, right? And the majority of those and this is a nationwide survey, so the majority of the students, the majority of your substitutes are age 50 and above. In terms of women responding, their ages, about 58% of those are 50 and above, where men, about 63% of those are 50 and above. So it's just kind of helpful for you to know when you're dealing with these individuals and this demographic, where are they at? So understanding your target audience means, how do you reach them? Are they on social media? Are they going to your website? Are they going to PTA meetings? Like, where are they at that you could reach them directly, right? You can find out and mark to them to be a substitute teacher. So that's kind of an important thing to at least know and recognize. So as you're putting together a marketing plan, you can use this information to really help you kind of identify where you can get the best candidates. Some of the other research that we've done is why they substitute teach. That was one of the questions we asked. Why you substitute teach? We found 46% of those who substitute teach do it because of a life change. And the life change could be they recently moved, they've gotten divorced, they've lost a job, they have their kids out of the house. There's some life change going on. The other one is family, and they have kids in school, so they like to be close. The lowest one that people kind of assume is finances, is why they're substitute teaching. This is really important, and we've talked about this several times throughout the years, that increasing pay, we did a webinar about increasing pay and why you don't need to increase pay. And this shows you why. Finances are not the main reason why people want to be a substitute. There are other reasons. Their passion, it's convenient, they have kids in school, there's things that have happened in their lives, but finances is not one of those reasons why they say, ooh, I really want to be a substitute because I can make $1 million, right? They're not like that. They do it because it's convenient, because they like it, they enjoy being with kids, they want to be around their own kids, but it's not finances. So a lot of districts are increasing their pay to help bring in subs. But again, that's not the thing that was really getting them to do it. It's the other things. It's the things that they feel on a personal level, why they want to be a substitute. So that goes into identifying marketing to those individuals. If you're marketing that you're going to get an increase in pay because when you become a substitute, the data shows that's not going to really probably convince them. But if you say, hey, have you had a recent life change? Is that something that you've done, or have you moved to the area recently? You need something to do, to keep your time. There's other reasons why people would be motivated to become a substitute teacher. So again, hopefully that helps you understand maybe increasing or changing some of the strategies you have about finding substitutes. One of the things I think is essential, I have a background in sales and marketing, and so one of the things I believe is really essential is having a need to create a marketing plan for when you're going out and trying to get substitutes. Your job as a sub manager, as an HR professional, is to find qualified applicants. So if you figure out what your marketing plan is, you create a marketing plan, then you're gonna have better results when it comes to when you have this big pull like in July, August that's coming for everyone. When you get to that point, you'll quickly be able to find and get the substitutes you need as you put together a clean marketing plan for them. Again, identify the target audience that we talked about, identify the demographics, we've talked about that as well, identify the reasons for working, like they like to be with kids, we've talked about that as well, and then use information like this information for advertising. So use it not necessarily to blast out these are the demographics, but make sure you're using the demographics to do the right marketing. So if you're going to do social media, make sure you're doing it to that demographic. Advertising options, old school, newspapers, radios, businesses, billboards. Billboards are probably expensive for some, but those are some kind of ways that people still do it, and marketing is still really effective in those areas. Online marketing is another way to do it, your district website, which most of you said you do, which is great. And then email campaigns or social media campaigns. The one thing I would say about your district website is you still need to bring people to the website. So how are you doing that? I would think about how you're directing people to come to your website to learn about opportunities, career opportunities with your district. So a lot of times they'll use a newspaper or radio ad or an email campaign or social media or PTA, right? You got to do things to bring people to the website. If that's where you want people to go to learn about them, then make sure you figure out a way to get them there. The other one is internal advertising options is an internal, like you do a referral program with your staff. Other teachers or other substitutes, you can have some kind of a referral program. You can also do webinars like we do with Steady. You may find that people may want to learn a little bit more about the job and may want to ask questions about the job instead of doing an interview. Maybe just opening it up to people who may be interested and asking questions and having you answer questions, have them ask questions. Incentives. Another way is that we talked about if you do increase pay, make sure one thing that works really well that we've seen and our data has shown is when you do increase pay, increase it when the applicant has completed training. So if you're gonna have them, if you want to pay increased pay, that's great, that's fantastic, but do it because they've done something for it. Then it matters more to them, and then they're also, for you as a district, they're more prepared to be there, right? To be a teacher, to be taking the place of the full-time teacher during that day, because now they have additional training that helps them do that effectively, right? You can also have a referral bonus. Like just a thought I had was if you have an applicant who's applying for a job and you talk with them the first time they come in, you say, hey, if you refer someone, one of your buddies or your friends or neighbors to apply with us to be a substitute, we do some kind of referral bonus to you, whatever that may be. And that could be so many different things. You also can incentivize them to provide free online training development. We found also that substitutes or anyone really will benefit from having training, but when you help them know and you give them the resources they need to understand how to do the job better, then that helps them to be confident, they have self-efficacy. They know they could do it. They believe they could do it. They're not worried about what to do and how to be in front of the classroom. And when it comes to substitute teaching, the great thing is that there are so many resources out there available. Study has them too, but there's so many resources out there to help you. But helping them understand how they need to do this job and the best way they could do it is a real benefit to them. I myself, when I tried doing substitute teaching, several years ago, substitute taught, it was very challenging because I didn't really know how to do it. I didn't know how to manage the class. It was rather frightening. So when you help them understand and give them training for that helps them be really confident. The other thing you can offer them is surprise lunches or prizes for recruiting other people, their friends and colleagues. If anyone has any comments, please, again, write in here, ask anything you have. I think, Jess, there's a survey for finding candidates. I'd have to look at that really quickly if there is one. We may have done it already.
I was going to say on the chat, if people have questions or comments, make sure that they typed in those in that little blue thing to all panelists and attendees. Correct. So that we can all see it, and then we'll be able to include it in our record of the chat, which we will include with the recording of the webinar on our webinars page.
So can you, I don't know if you can see this screen. This is where you can change it to all panelists. I'm assuming you can see this Zoom webinar chat feature. Just change that to all panelists and attendees, then everyone can see. That'd be great. So the new poll, this poll has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions in it. I really apologize, but this is a poll that this is kind of the heart and soul of what this webinar is today. If you each could just take some time really quickly and answer these questions for us, and just do it as quick as possible, this will kind of help us understand where you're at and help you understand where some of the weaknesses may be, or what some of the strengths you have in terms of your identifying your target audience and the way you're marketing to them and reaching out to them. Again, at the end, later today, we will have all of this available to you to see and be able to access yourselves, so you won't be missing out anything. But the idea is to help each other to have a better understanding of what other districts are doing around the nation, to help you increase and improve your processes, your procedures within each of your departments. Diana, I really apologize. You can't submit the answers. I am not sure. I would definitely change this next time. What I can do as well is we can add these two. We can make these into a survey ourselves and send them out to all of you again. So if that would be easier, we could just do a survey for these questions later, and you could just go online and answer them. Would that be okay? I hope so. Jess, do we have quite a few responses already?
Yes, it should be sharing now.
And seat cover.
Perfect. So 50% of you believe you've identified your target audience. 30% neither agree or disagree. So that's a pretty good ratio there. District knows the target audience, agrees. That's great. District needs a market plan, agree. That's something that doesn't surprise me at all. That most businesses, in fact, just don't really put a lot of time and energy into that. So that's something you can look into. There's a lot of resources online that you can look at as well. You use other. Now, this is great. This is great information. We'll share all this with everyone. So the district uses advertising methods like Facebook, Google Ads. Most of you are like that in that arena, and that's great. Use training as a method of recruiting. Looks like it's kind of split between all of you. That's great. And you used, many of you don't use incentives as a way to recruit. So I would definitely start thinking about that for you as a way to help with increasing your sub pool and those fill rates you have for sure. Thanks for sharing that, Jess. Your meeting requirements to make sure that your job applicants are meeting requirements. You have various standards of employment. You have the experience that they need, certain education or certifications. There is a cost to many applicants who have to pay for fingerprinting and other training and so forth that's required. There are some requirements that are needed to have. And that's with any job, right? When you look at a teacher, a full-time teacher, they've spent years, quite literally years and tens of thousands of dollars on their education, on being trained, having a certification that allows them to be in front of children all day long to help them teach the skills, the subjects that they teach. It's a really important thing. We all understand how important that is. That's vital, right? The district, for these requirements, they have the applicants have an application, they do a training, whether they require the training by the district or by the state. And there's clear expectations that when you apply for a job, there are certain expectations you have to meet. We feel it's the same way when it comes to substitute teaching. The experience, education, that many of these substitutes don't have the experience, don't have the education, or not all of the education. Even those who do and have been teachers in the past have a real need to understand what it's like to be a substitute teacher, to be one that's not constantly the one in front of the students. You're there part-time, you're there temporarily. It's a different understanding for even teachers who've been teaching to step into that role as a substitute teacher now. So that's an important thing to understand what that diagrammatic or that experience is like for them. So understanding that is very helpful. So training, let's do another survey. This is one of the things I feel very strongly about is, would you want an untrained fire department to put out a fire at your house? I'm pretty sure there's a very clear answer to this. And I apologize for the simplicity of it, but I really do want to make a point about it. Firemen, as I've done research on fire departments, becoming a fireman, it takes over 400 hours for you to become a fireman. Just average across the nation, 400 hours. And there's a lot of reasons, right? They don't just learn in a book. They do a lot of practical things. They go into buildings and mock-up buildings and mock-up homes, and they put out fires. They start a fire and they put it out, right? They do a lot of like real in-depth training and understanding of how fire works to be able to control it and put it out in the best way possible. And I feel like it's the same thing when it comes to your substitute teachers. When your substitute teachers don't have the training, when they don't know how to understand human behavior when it comes to children in a classroom setting, when they don't understand that dynamic, it becomes very difficult for them to do it efficiently. And so I'm sure I've talked to many HR managers around the country and and secondary ed in districts who I always ask them, how many substitutes go in for one day and they never come back? And they're like, oh, probably more than we'd like to admit. And a lot of it is because they simply don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And that's where the training comes into play, is to really help them understand that classroom management, help them understand the human behavior so they can manage the class as a whole, and they can even manage an individual child who's kind of acting out and how to manage that behavior. So I think it's really essential for that. Training potential people like to know they can do the job, right? They like to know that they're going to be efficient and effective at what they do. And that's where training helps. A fireman, they don't want to go someplace and not know how to handle it. That's what the training's for. I had a few fire department people over at my house the other day. We broke a gas line in my backyard. We're fixing our water sprinklers, and I had to fix the valve that was broken. And we accidentally punctured a gas line. And so we had to clear out a couple of houses around, and I'm so happy about that. But as I was talking to them, I asked them, what is your training like? Do you guys do annual training? Like, oh, we have, thousands of hours of training. I mean, thousands, but probably, hundreds of hours of training every year to stay on top of various types of training. Here in Utah, we have rivers and other things. So they have to do kind of river training and rescue and lots of other training they do to keep them abreast of what's necessary, what's required to be on top of their job, do the best job they can do. Again, it creates self-efficacy among applicants, among new hires. It also creates self-efficacy for the students. It's kind of an interesting thing when a substitute knows how to handle the class, they can really help students continue the learning process. And we'll talk a little about that as well. When the substitutes have the knowledge, they can manage their behavior, they can manage classroom management, they have the teaching strategies and the skills to be able to do it correctly. The benefits of training for them is reducing complaints, reduces turnovers, increases your fill rates in your subpools. Again, it builds that self-efficacy for them and the students. The real goal is not to have a substitute be there and be a babysitter for those students. Truly, the goal is to have a substitute continue the learning process for your students. And if your substitutes aren't doing that, they're really failing the kids, the parents, the school itself, because those kids need to continue learning the process. Everyone knows the statistic about the substitute teacher is in the classroom for one student about a year of their K through 12 experience. So if they're in a year and just haven't learned anything for an entire year, it's a real waste of time for everyone. So giving them the skills and help them understand how to continue the learning process to grab the lesson plan for the day and be able to implement it. These are things that are real strategies to help the teacher be efficient in what they do.
Sam, can I jump in here really quick?
Yeah, please do.
So we have, after substitutes come to our website, take our training and pass it, they are invited to a private Facebook group called the SubSkills Alumni Group. And the other day, somebody posted, it's a funny internet meme, as you know, the memes have been on point lately, but it was a meme about how one parent saying, I've now become like the sub who just shows a video and sits in the back of the class. And this person posted it to the alumni group and said, I am deeply offended by this. And I loved that response because this is a trained group of professionals. They want to do a good job. I think in years past, without training, people would say, oh yeah, that's how subs are. But I like that subs are now saying that is not the type of sub I'm going to be. That is not the type of sub I am. I'm a professional and want to do a great job and have the skills after being trained.
I appreciate that, Jessica. That is great insight. People really do like to do their job well. And I think just as a whole, I think all of us like to do our job really well. And we like to go home knowing that we've done the best we can. And I think that shows that's changing, right, for subs. I think that's very apparent that a substitute person who's really interested in being with kids and helping kids to progress in their learning are going to want to do things that help those students progress. And so sitting around watching a video wouldn't be one of those things they do. They're going to help get the lesson and implement it and help do what they can to answer questions and help these students keep going. I think that's fantastic news. Thank you, Jessica. So how can Steady help? So Steady is a training, we are a training company. That is the core of what we do. We train substitutes and have trained substitutes for 25 years. Jeff Smith is the owner. He started this company, and that's all they've done. Jessica, I appreciate her chiming in. She, like I said earlier, she's kind of the heart and soul of this company in terms of creating the content and creating the lessons and creating the teaching trainings that we have, system we have for your substitutes to be the best they possibly can be. We've had recently, we've created a different suites in terms of how we can help districts and organizations provide more services to not only their substitutes, but to some professional paraprofessionals and specialists in their districts as a whole. Traditionally in the past, and we'll talk about this at the end, we usually just have substitutes pay for it themselves, or a district will pay for their online training for the subs or their face-to-face training. We've now packaged these together so you can get access to additional courses. The main course we have is SubSkills Online Training Course. This is the main one that most of you probably know about or have heard about. And that's where you get a certificate from Steady saying you've completed the training. It's a 10-hour course. It could be anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, depending on the individual, what time commitment they have. And they get done, they get a diploma from Steady, verifying that they've completed the training. This is really essential for getting teachers what they need, the behavior management understanding, the classroom management, the different teaching strategies that are there, helps them to be able to step in and start working immediately. This package also includes for districts our advanced classroom management, advanced teaching strategies, and advanced special education courses. This is included now. So there's not separate charges for these in terms of the SubSkills training package. This would all be included for all of your teachers. So if you have your substitutes, you have permanent teachers, this would apply for anyone that you'd want them to take these courses from. The next package we have is our Pro Skills training, and that includes the SubSkills training we talked about before, but now we throw in also paraeducator training, specialist classroom management, teacher classroom management, and our online teacher remote training. So we have a training that we're creating right now for teachers to be able to effectively create an online training, an online teaching course, so they can put their materials together to teach their students. And that's going in this package as well. And our Parenting Magic course. So as we talk about the human behavior side of what Steady does, it's all based on research, years and years of research. So if we're teaching your substitutes and we're teaching your professionals on how these human behavior things work and how we can help students, we also have created it for Parenting Magic because it just falls in line there. The Parenting Magic is for parents. So parents within your districts would be able to access this course and have access to them, and they can use it at home. So your students getting, the same kind of training and same kind of understanding. Just maybe you want to pipe in and talk a little bit about that. But the whole idea is that the whole circle is kind of complete, where you have your teachers who are there all the time, subs who are there every once in a while, and your parents who are there all the time, kind of understanding the same kind of methodology that Steady does on human behavior. Do you mind chiming in, Jessica, talking about that?
Yeah, so the thing that I love to do the very most is study human behavior. When I teach any classroom I go to, the most challenging student is my favorite to work with. I love knowing or figuring out how to reach that student in a way that they are receptive. And it's because the skills in the training course offer that. They're principle-based. So the first principle of human behavior is the only behavior I can control is my own. So we learn that it's our skills as teachers that have the most influence on the classroom. And so behavior management is the field I love to research most in. It's the field I love to practice very most in it. And these skills are phenomenal in helping adapt to work with a wide variety of students because they're skills that the teacher needs to know.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I think it ties in really nicely as well. Was as we've truly what's happened since the coronavirus, the COVID-19's happened, we've tried thinking outside the box of how we can help districts, which included, as we've kind of gone through it, Jessica had the idea of including parents in that, where now parents are also the teacher. They're also the substitute. They're also the parent, right? They're the ones now in charge of teaching their children, which they've not really done before. There are some, of course, but most of them have not. And so this training for both the substitutes, the professionals, and the parents are to really help everyone understand and better train themselves, but which helps the students, their kids, learn a lot more effectively. The full-time, the Pro Skills training package also includes our fill rate course. This fill rate course is also the idea there is to help sub-managers or substitute departments to have some better training for them and how to do their job, and some tools and processes that we would implement, strategies we would implement to help your district be a little better than what you've been able to do before. Hopefully you have some ideas that are very helpful to help out there as well.
Sam, if I can break in just a second, I was going to say that, we've been known for years and years as being the experts when it comes to substitute teachers. And that actually, over the years has allowed us to get more and more information about managing substitute teachers. And so we've become quite experts in that as well. So we just wanted to share that information with everyone and put together that fill rate course so that would be available to sub-managers.
And it's about a 4-hour course, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
4 or 5 hours.
Okay. So there's a lot of content there that is very helpful for you. The next program package we have is our admin skills. So you get the sub skills, you get the pro skills package, and then you also, which includes that fill rate course, but this package, it gives the Fill Rate Academy. These are 11 sessions that are really specific to district administration training. We talk about expectations, we talk about creating a sub task force. There's a lot of in-depth training there. With it as well, we do one-on-one exclusive mentoring with school districts. So I've talked to some people, and knowing that they are kind of new to the department or new to the position. These may be some great opportunities to have some insights from Steady, who's been working with districts all across the country for the last 25 years, some insights to help you manage and better be prepared for your training your substitutes and recruiting and retaining and training them. So
Sam, if I may, sorry, I don't want to make this go much longer, but I did want to talk about that Fill Rate Academy really quickly. We've had some questions or comments about increasing fill rate. And when we survey substitute teachers, they say they would like to work more than they do. But when we survey them about why they don't work in some places and like some schools versus others, it comes down to a sub-friendly. They might not know where to park at a school, so they don't take a job there. And so this the Fill Rate Academy helps kind of look at all aspects of substitute teaching and sub-readiness at the school site. And then we can offer surveys where you can know exactly where subs do and don't like to go and why. And then with your sub task force, you address those problems and it will increase your fill rate. So that's just one reason. Another reason you may want to consider training right now, we saw with the 2008 recession that substitute teaching applicants went way up because of the economy. So when the economy is bad, you have more substitute teachers. So that's why training, we're wanting to teach you about training so much, is because you'll likely have more applicants next year than you've had in several years. And so having things in place where you can sift through those applicants at an efficient rate, so you're not wasting time and money on processing paperwork for those who are not actually wanting to be in the classroom. That's why training is really essential right now, to have this in place for when, with the economy going the direction it is, in the fall you'll have increased applicants.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's one that we've talked a lot about, is helping districts be prepared for the coming school year. We've done a couple of webinars recently about that. So there are some real things that are really efficient ways to help manage that and manage those applicants. I've talked to districts in Florida, for example. They get 800 applicants a month for substitute teaching, and that's a lot to sift through, like Jessica was saying. If there's a way to minimize that and get the best of the best within those 800, then you have real decisions to make about which people would fit best to be substitutes. And so that's what the Fill Rate Academy is going to be helping you with. To kind of move things along, I apologize. Some of the benefits are unlimited annual access to training for all of those courses. The sub skills online course, the initial course, that's one that's just once. That's when they get the certificate. It's the other training, the advanced training, the specialist training, the paraeducator training. Those trainings you would have additional access to, multiple times throughout the year for your employees. Registration and completion reports, we send out those reports to each of the districts, knowing that who's registered, who's completed, what the scores are, to verify what people are telling you, what diplomas they're sending in. We do have a substitute recruiting video that we can put onto your district website if you do want to work with Steady. That would help them understand the benefits of being a substitute and the benefits of getting training to become a substitute. We also have a newsletter that we can send out on a regular basis that the substitutes will be able to have access to in your teachers. And then we have dedicated client support that helps with any questions that your substitutes may have. So if you have, Lisa is fantastic at what she does. She's probably one of the best parts about our company, to be honest. She's amazing dealing with clients, helping them with problems or issues they're having with the training or things they don't understand, or even just giving them motivation to continue getting the training done. And then we do have additional annual trainings that we can offer to the district that you if you use our package, you can give additional trainings to your district and your employees. So these are some of the pricing we have for our sub skills, pro skills, and admin skills. Many of you may be over the 12,000 enrollment, and so we would just ask that you call us and we'll just work with you individually. The enrollments that are 1,500, 12,000 less, there's pricing for those that you can see. We'd be happy to answer any questions about that, but you can see how it is tiered and it's based off of your student enrollment. That's the only way we felt like we can make it fair for everyone. In terms of the substitute self-training method, if you don't want to pay for the annual package, the other option the school district can do is have the substitutes pay for the training themselves. And why they would do this is because, again, having that self-efficacy that they need to be able to be effective in the classroom, that's where our training comes from. Again, it's based off of human behavior, like Jessica was talking about. It's to really help them identify how they can manage a classroom in the most effective way. But if your district doesn't have the available funds to do that, the one way you can do it is require them to take the training. You have there's certain writing, content we ask you to put on your website or logo, that they go online and they could pay for the training themselves and take the course and then submit a diploma into you prior to being an employee, right? With their application, much like when you ask a permanent teacher to submit their resume, submit their teaching credentials, and all that information. This would be the same thing for substitutes. Send in your resume, send in your teaching diploma or your sub skills diploma, and get your fingerprints and all the other costs, right? This
We
is
have
to
a
be-
lot of districts across the country, large districts like Boston, Metro Nashville, Fulton County, that make this part of their application requirement. And they have places in their application where the substitute applicants can upload a copy of their sub diploma to show that they've completed it.
Yeah, that's perfect. In fact, we have a list. We can give you a list of plenty of school districts that use our services just like this, that we'd be happy to share with you as well if you're interested. So just let us know. On the substitute self-training, they have access to the material for a year. They have 4 times that they can attempt to take and pass the exam. And there's no cost to the school district. We don't require a contract. We don't require an agreement with us. We do require that you just put the training on your website, that you just say, if you're going to be a substitute, you take this training, submit us the diploma, and then we'll bring you in to interview and so forth. So there is a spring giveaway that's happening. We are doing that. We have some prizes. Many of you probably know this already. If you just go to steady.org/giveaway, you'll find more information about our spring giveaway that we're doing. And there's more information. I didn't put everything on here, but there are some pretty cool things that we're offering that we've done this for years, and it's been very helpful and beneficial to districts all over. There's a certificate of appreciation you can download. There's a link on the bottom. Again, we'll put this webinar online as well as the slide deck. So you will be able to have access to these links, that if you have an appreciation, you have a substitute you want to appreciate, here's a certificate you could just download and input your information in and send to them as a way of appreciating them. So we made some memes and had some memes, and we thought as kind of the end, we would share some memes, and we're going to do a survey at the end about which is your favorite meme. So we want to really appreciate everyone for coming, but here are a few of the memes. You've probably seen some of them. To be honest, I have a big family. My wife is the oldest of 10 kids. I'm the third youngest of 8 kids. And so we have several text messages, group messages going around, and we share a lot of these memes together.
Sam has 6 kids.
Yes, I have 6 kids myself. So we have a lot of fun with trying to be, in light of all the seriousness that's going on, we try and lighten each other up by sharing the most ridiculous and funny memes we can find. So what I'd love is there's a poll for the memes. I'd love for you to vote on your favorite one, if you wouldn't mind. It's kind of hard. To be honest, I love all of these. That's why they're there. All of them, So I hope, let me know which ones you have. Is that poll up there, Jess?
It should be. Is it not come through? It's been up for about 25 seconds. It says.
Okay.
I haven't seen the poll.
No,
It's not showing that.
That looks like maybe I'll end it and we'll type in the comments. Number 5, number 3, those are the votes so far.
You can put me down for 5. But I'm that way all the time, not just because of the virus.
When I saw the meme number 4, I just about lost it. That was funny. I think number 5 is probably my favorite. And Vern, I know if you don't see the poll, we took it off. If you just want to type in the chat what your favorite one is, that would be great. We apologize. The poll's kind of being weird. We'll have to work on that the next one. Anyone else have any other? I think probably got quite a few answers that look about right. Jessica and Kelly.
Yeah, you bet. We're getting good participation. Thanks, everybody.
So next week's survey, I have or next week's topic, I have a survey for this as well. So if you want to throw that survey up there too. We'd like to know what topic you'd like us to talk about, discuss next week. There are lots of things to discuss, and there is an option for others. So if you have other suggestion, we'd love for you to type that in of a suggestion.
Should there be a poll for this? I'm not seeing a poll.
Is it not coming up? It's been up again for about 20 seconds. Apparently,
Okay.
the poll is just like us with 2020. Like, oh man, this is rough.
Yeah, I apologize. So do you want to read the questions, Jess, and have them answer?
Right. So next week's topic, if you want to answer one of these: sub-manager training, managing substitute teaching, engaging with the schools and principals, improving fill rates, or other. So sub-manager training, managing substitute teachers, engaging with my schools in my district, or improving the fill rate. Or other. Great.
All
good
of the
feedback.
above. That's good, Verna. We know that's the case, so that's why we're asking. We'll get to these, and these aren't ones that we'll not pass up. We'll add them to our trainings, to our webinars that we do. So we do feel like it's very important. If you have any questions, you can reach out to any of us. I'll leave this up here for a little bit. You can write these down, but please reach out to us. Realize that our real purpose is to help school districts train and prepare substitutes for being in the classroom. And that's a thing that we have spent years and years of research and experience creating the best methodology that these teachers, these applicants can use to be the best they can be in the classroom. And I dare say there's not another classroom management, there's not another human behavior management strategy that's out there that really compares. This study has been built on a university-based curriculum. It was created at Utah State University initially, and then it broke off from there. So all of the research was done at a university level, not at a corporate level, if that makes sense. It was very based on the best of the best. So we tried doing all we could to make sure that we understood the subject teacher needs and what requirements and training they needed to be effective in the classroom. So for 25 years, that's what we've built it on. And we really hope if you have some interest, you please reach out to us for any questions. We'll be here next week. We'll put these answers together for what the consensus is for the training next week, and then we'll send out another email and letting you all know what that will be. But for now, thank you very much for your time. We hope you've enjoyed and learned some good information, and we appreciate you very much. We know it's a struggle. We know that you're doing a lot of great work for us and for the community. Very appreciative of our education industry. We appreciate each of you for what you do. So thank you again and have a great day. Bye, everyone.